So, what did I think of Civil War? Let's find out! Welcome back guys, Mr. Rawlings here. Everyone by now should have seen Captain America Civil War, so I don't have to worry too much about talking about it spoiler-wise. However, this won't have sort of spoilers about the plot or anything like that, but I might mention something that if you haven't seen it yet, you might not want to have heard, so just keep that in mind. So first off, I just thought I'd give you a real quick overall score of what I thought, so you could just watch that bit and then you don't have to watch the rest of the video, I suppose. I give it 4 out of 5. That's the equivalent of 8 out of 10, or 5,348 out of 6,685. So that gives you a rough idea of what I thought, and clearly I enjoyed it. So did I think it was better than the DC's showdown, of characters that was Batman v Superman? I did, yes. I did actually like Batman v Superman, most people didn't. But this is a better movie, or at least I enjoyed it more anyway. But to be honest, it's not really something you can compare, because they are very different movies. Literally the only thing similar about them is that they're comic book characters, but that is pretty much where the similarities end. The whole feel of MCU movies is slightly more light-hearted. It's got those vibrant colours, it's all really colourful, like it's jumped off the page. It's got a lot of jokes and crazy action going on. And then clearly, if you've seen Batman v Superman, the DC Cinematic Universe is taking a darker feel. It's got more plot to it. Well, not sure about that, but it's got deeper, darker plots to it at least. It's got more of a sense of dread, and literally the filter they use in post-production is to make the whole thing look darker. It's just a very different style of movie, even though they're both comic book movies. So because of that, MCU movies to me are a more fun experience anyway. And this one certainly does hit the fun factor, but it does have quite a bit of plot and sort of, dark, troubling things going on as well. And I'll come to the more serious side in a moment, but I just wanted to stick with the fun part of it first of all. So acting as comedic relief, you've got Spider-Man, and to a lesser extent you've got Ant-Man. You've also got some fun moments between Falcon, Bucky and Cap, so that's quite good as well. But yeah, Spider-Man does steal the show in that regard. I thought Spider-Man was excellent in it. It's a really, really good version of him. He's like a kid at awe at everything. He's got his wisecracks, and he knows they're all heroes really. So although he's decided to side with Tony Stark and sees the merit of doing that and buys into that, he knows they're not bad people. So it's almost like, I guess it's almost like he thinks it's a fun fight, if that makes sense. Like, he doesn't really see the seriousness of it all that much. Like I say, he kind of does, but when he's actually in the fights, it's more like he's just having a good time and everyone's just like really on the same side. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but he doesn't take it as seriously as some of them. However, just to mention, the fact that he does buy into Tony Stark's side is a little bit strange, because when he meets Tony Stark, and bear in mind there might be some spoilers here and that kind of stuff, Tony knows his identity, and Peter's like, don't tell anyone, don't tell Aunt May, I don't want anyone knowing, sort of thing. But then buys into Tony's reason for the registration. Does he not realise that if that was to win, he would need to reveal his identity? It doesn't make any sense really. In the Civil War comic, he does reveal his identity when he's originally with Tony Stark on that side. But in this, he's like, don't tell anyone, but goes with the version where he'd have to reveal himself. So that didn't really make any sense, but don't worry about that. But yeah, getting back to the point, Spider-Man is excellent in it. He's only just got his powers really. He's an absolute rookie, and yet he holds his own against them. There's a brilliant bit, you might have seen it on a TV spot already. Slight spoiler if you haven't or whatever. But he flies in, and Bucky throws a punch at him with his big, robotic metal arm type thing. And Spider-Man catches it, and he's like, "Whoa, you've got a metal arm, that's really cool," sort of thing. And it's just funny because Bucky's like, "How the hell did he stop my arm?" And Spider-Man's just taking it as like, "Oh, that's really cool." And it's just, I don't know, it's just a brilliant bit. But yeah, he's pretty much what I wanted. He's really strong, really good at his stuff already. He's really smart, really funny, and really awkward, so it's a brilliant portrayal of him. And then, like I say, to a lesser extent, Ant-Man was pretty funny as well. I really liked the Ant-Man movie, and I like the character Paul plays. The only bit I didn't really like, that they always do this in movies, and this is a big spoiler if you've not seen it, he turns into Giant Man at one point, and when he does, he's all like slow, like, oh, I'll pick up this truck, oh, and I'll throw the truck. Why? It doesn't make any sense, and it always happens in movies and stuff like that. When something goes really big, for some reason they move all slow. No, they still move normally. I mean, barring a little bit of extra wind resistance or something, they'd be moving quickly still. You'd be picking up that truck and throwing it. It wouldn't be going, ooh. So I thought that was a bit weird, but it was funny. But getting back to Spider-Man again, and in terms of things that don't make sense in movies, there was quite a funny bit where Spider-Man actually acknowledged that Captain America's shield makes no sense. He's like, you do realise this shield doesn't obey the laws of physics. And I thought it was quite a funny nod, because obviously people say that all the time, and when it's acknowledged in a funny way in a movie or whatever, I think that's quite a neat touch. But of course the movie does have a more serious side to it, and to be fair, it has some good performances as well. Like, you don't really expect a deep character portrayal and performance in a comic book movie, but there were some in this. Particularly Robert Downey Jr. was brilliant. He really showed Tony Stark as someone struggling with his own demons, turmoil, isn't sure what the right thing to do, and to a lesser extent Steve Rogers is like that as well. And I just thought it was a brilliant. Tony Stark in it was brilliant, or Robert playing him, if that makes sense. And yeah, it was awesome watching Tony and Steve hash it out. They had some really good parts together. It was brilliant watching it from both a verbal point of view when they're just discussing things, and you can see that they're both struggling with their decision they've made, and of course when they're fighting. It is quite brutal, it is quite shocking, but it's brilliant. And there are some troubling reveals which help you empathise with why each side has picked their bit, particularly with Tony. I won't go into that. If you've seen it, then you know what I'm talking about, but it set it up well, and it makes sense of why everything's happening the way it is. All in all, this movie has everything you'd expect. It's got great action and special effects. It's got its funny parts, its serious parts. Yeah, it's got everything you want from a movie, really. If you haven't seen it already, it's really worth a watch. And in some ways, I don't even think you need to be a big fan of Marvel or have seen all the MCU movies. It somehow feels detached from them. Of course, how it's set up is completely related to what's happened in previous movies, but the movie itself doesn't seem to be stuck in where Marvel's going, and obviously that's like the Infinity Wars and that kind of stuff, if that makes any sense. It's kind of a movie in its own right. But of course, if you're going to see it, you probably do like Marvel, and you probably have seen most or all of the MCU movies, so it doesn't make a difference either way to you. But if you're going to take your girlfriend or whatever, and they're not into it that much, they'd still enjoy the movie, I think, if they've not watched the previous ones. There'll be some bits where they haven't got a clue what's going on, of course, but there's enough action and comedy to just enjoy it without knowing the backstory. So yeah guys, basically a thumbs up from me. I thought it was good. I think you should see it if you haven't already. And let me know what you think in the comments if you feel like it. Don't have to, whatever. So guys, that about do it. Just a quick video telling you what I thought of the movie. If you like that, please click like. Click subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, if you ever get great powers, remember that you have to have great responsibility with them, okay? Bye! Guys, if you're still here, you're awesome! But as you are still here, why not check out some of my other videos? Oh, and if you haven't already, please click subscribe. Laters, haters!